My mom called me from Lockhart one day. She had a little ranch, and she had all these little animals, and she got a new animal. She was very proud, so she called me and she said, Donna, today we have a new donkey. He's so very, very cute, but he hee-haw all day. And I said, Mom, I'm at work. I said, I don't care that you have a new donkey. And she said, Donna, listen to me. He's so very, very loud. He hee-haw all day, but he's so cute. And I said, Mom, I'm at work. Let the ass do his job. And she had never heard that word in that context. And she said, Donna, he not call you name. You not have to call him name. I said, no, it's in the Bible. It's not a bad word. It just means donkey or mule. So anyway, some days goes by, and she's at work this time, and I called her, and I said, Mom, you okay? And she said, Donna, everybody laugh at me today. I not know why. And I said, trust me, old woman, it was something you said. I said, what did you say today? And she said, Donna, talk about how cute my ass is. But it makes so much noise.
We are Moms Unhinged, a nationally touring stand-up comedy show. Join us in our podcast as we explore everything from motherhood, midlife crisis, marriage, divorce, online dating, menopause, and other things that irritate us. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moms Unhinged. My name is Andrea. I am your host today, and I am joined by the lovely, wonderful Donna Lee, one of our Texas-based comedians. Welcome, Donna.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, so fun, so fun. And I keep joking that I just like having these podcasts so that I can talk to you guys. So, I don't always get a chance at the shows. It's so busy. Like we're always like, I'm running around like, oh my God. I'd love to kick it off by just like finding out how you got started in your comedy journey. Like what prompted you to be a stand-up comedian, and when did you get started?
I got started the first round. I've been in comedy twice. So in 2006, I was in comedy for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I became a really good opener. And I don't think that the normal layperson knows how hard that is to be an opener. But,
right.
The average person thinks, oh, that's the easiest thing is to be an opener.
Oh.
That's the hardest job to be.
Yes.
I'm always reminding people of that.
Yeah.
But I was very proud to say I became a really good opener. Like I remembered all the things and would, memorize the credentials quickly and remember to, tip your staff. And next week, so-and-so's coming. So all the good stuff. I did that for about 5 years and just started to dip my toe into featuring, to being a good feature.
Mm-hmm.
And do that a few times with some big names like D.L. Hughley and Leanne Morgan. And then I quit. And I had to raise my son, and then I had a new marriage, so raising two stepsons that were about the same age as my son. So I took 12 years off and did one show a year, like one, the obligatory fundraiser, or Red Line's having a big birthday party, wants me to do 10 minutes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But then I came back to comedy in May 2024, and I've been doing it full time since then. So happy, and I ended up on one of your shows. I reached out to you, and I'll never forget that. You were coming through Austin, Moms and Kids, coming through Austin, and I sent it out to the website. I'm like, you're a guest.
Yeah, that's super awesome, and I love the fact that you you joke that you quit, but you made a powerful choice to stay home with your kids, and just it's so important. It's hard, especially I don't know what ages were they when you decided to stay at home and stop doing comedy?
That's a good question. It's 2006. My son was born 2002, so he was little, and my stepsons are 1 year and 2 years older than he, so they were all pretty little boys.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's like especially when they're that age, and especially boys. It's like they need a lot of. They're busy, little kids, toddlers are, and then even into like teen years. They still need you, and especially then a lot of times,
Yeah, that's one
So
of the reasons why I came back in is because they're all gone and adulting and they don't really need much of me anymore except to,
yeah,
have dinner every now and again and chit chat. But
yeah.
I feel like I did my part and they all gave me their approval to go back into comedy. And I was just asked the other day, why don't you cuss on stage? I love to cuss at home, girl. Like I curse, I say the F word as many times as I can a day. But on stage, I won't cuss because I always swore that I would want my son to be proud of me, and I never wanted him to grow up. When we all knew the internet was a thing forever.
Yeah.
I just could not fathom that he would be an adult and find something online that embarrassed him about me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's so true. And that's why, I mean, I definitely feel like that's why I try and, with Moms Unhinged, we try and stay cleaner because it is like, it's more accessible. And plus, we do have kids. Like, I don't want my kids finding that stuff either, you know? So
I think it's great, that people. I mean, I cuss with my son, like we cuss together. We laugh,
yeah,
but I didn't want to see like I wouldn't have like a dirty body part joke online that he would ever
yeah,
find.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
just some moms don't mind and their kids don't mind, but I didn't want to take that route.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Well, that's awesome that you are back in it and going back in big. You've got a lot of shows and everything like that, so that's great. What do you think has been like the hardest part of re-entering? Like, do you feel like things have changed since you were doing it before? Or like,
Yeah,
was the,
for sure. Back in the day, there was social media, but it wasn't like it is now. Like
mm-hmm,
when I'm headlining now, there's so much pressure to fill seats, to,
mm,
to fill the room. With
mm-hmm,
Moms Unhinged, I'm always like, oh, thank God, a Moms Unhinged show. It's so more stress on you, but they're pretty full. Like you
yeah,
just like comedy used to be. You just go to the venue, you do your comedy, and go home.
mm-hmm,
Now it's so much different. We have to do all the posts on social media. You have to do, the Facebook campaigns and boosting all these ads. And I am fairly new to social media coming back into this in
mm-hmm,
2024. I had 168 Instagram followers and I didn't know what I was doing. And I've had to
mm-hmm.
work really hard to post a bunch of things and boost a bunch of things. And it's stressful. And so
Yeah,
when I started headlining more and more now, it's just the clubs who are like, well, you got 15 tickets sold, your show's in a week, what are you going to do? It's really only comedy. And it's
yeah,
really, really hard. But I mean,
yeah,
the clubs do their marketing too, but I feel like there's just so much more stress than I ever heard about for headliners now.
mm-hmm,
Headliners I've been hanging out with, they're just always stressed out beyond it.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
that's been hard. But just keeping up with social media and trends.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
can't even spell social media, girl. Like it's. I mean,
I know, it's so much, it's overwhelming, and there's like I'm like, "Why couldn't we just be on one? Let's just all choose one."
yeah, right.
I don't need to choose different sizes for different lengths and different blah, 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 different hashtags and da, 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 da. Let's like, yeah, just let's all standardize, pick one, let's go.
I love it.
Oh my gosh. Now I want to dive a little bit into, you talk a lot in your comedy about your mom, which is hilarious. It's so funny. But you've had this multi-ethnic history background. So talk a little bit about that and what that's been like, especially with, differences between your mom and your kids and everything like that.
Yeah, my mom's from Thailand, so she's Thai, and my dad's Irish, so I always joke that I'm Thairish. I always feel like I'm that phrase. I'm sure there's more out there, but my first husband was very much a cowboy, a Southern guy, had horses and things from Utah, and so he had a really heavy Southern accent. So my son took on that part of his dad. So my son, who's 6'3", wears a big cowboy hat, big belt around, the cowboy boots, the whole thing. And he talks to me like this, mother, how are you doing, mother? Get her done. Like he says things like Larry the Cable Guy in my house. And then my mom has a really heavy Asian accent, and she thinks that Sterling hung the moon because she wanted a boy. She always wanted a boy. And most Asian moms. So she would just, oh, Sterling, you're everything to me. I love you so much. I'm like, Mom, what about me? She's like, I love Sterling. Like she always just bossed over me.
You brought me Sterling.
No, and then she told people for a long time that she gave birth to a boy and a girl.
Ah,
I did not. You're just right. But she'll tell everybody that, yeah, Sterling was her son directly from her stomach.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah. They're cute
hilarious.
together because Sterling, he has his heavy accent. It's like, Mimi, how the hell are you doing? What's going on? I'm coming home. I want to come to your house to eat food for my heritage. And I'm like, it's just the way you say things, Sterling. Like, your heritage? Like, what does that mean? But
That's
yeah.
so funny.
And he
That's,
he gets a kick out of telling people he's Thai. So
yeah.
he's got these massive arms, like super long arms, because he's so tall. He looks like a supermodel. And he'll tell people, he'll walk up and go, bruh, I'm Asian. And I'm like, you're in the, but you're not that Asian. But it's funny that you say that. And he's like, mother, my baby's from Thailand, so therefore I am Asian. And I'm like, the cowboy hat throws people. That's what
I
it is.
know. That's hilarious. That's so funny. So now your mom and your dad, how did they get together? Like Irish and Thai just definitely seems like
The stream.
yeah.
Yeah, my dad, he's American, but his roots are from Ireland.
Okay.
He was in the Vietnam War.
Okay.
My mom, she's from Thailand, but she had a nail salon, a hair and nail salon in Laos on the border of Vietnam.
Uh-huh.
So the GIs would go to her hair salon and they would get the haircut. So my dad would go in and see this beautiful Thai woman, and she bought the salon from another woman named Vina. So at the top it said Vina's. And so all the GIs would go get their hair done by, my mom, Vina, at Vina's.
Yeah.
And my dad was talking to the woman who was cutting his hair. He said, who's that beautiful woman? And the woman cutting his hair said, that's the owner, in her broken English.
Yeah.
And so my dad thought that her name was Vina. Her name was never Vina, but he called her Vina for the rest of her whole life. And when she told me that story, I said, why didn't you correct Dad and say that wasn't your name, that you bought the salon from a woman from Vina? Being a subservient Asian, she said, oh, Mama, you never correct the man. I'm like, for 50 fucking years. But never, are you serious? And she was like, oh, no, I never correct him. And I'm like, oh. So everybody called her Vina.
That's hilarious. That is so funny.
Yeah.
Oh
so
my God.
he never asked. Like, he's like, well, we'll call her Vina.
That's so funny. So they fell in love, got married, came back here. Now, did they come back have you always lived did you grow up in Texas?
I was born in Thailand, so we came back overseas. My dad was still in the Air Force, came back. Interesting story. My mom got really, really sick with uterine cancer in Thailand when I was a baby.
Oh my goodness.
Died, and she spoke hardly any English. And so they knew he was coming back here to the States, and he had never even held a baby. He didn't even have to take care of me because my mom took care of me when I was a little bitty baby.
Yeah.
And she got sick. They put her on a stretcher, and they called my dad in from active service 3 times for him to say goodbye to his wife because they just knew she would pass away.
Oh.
And so he told me the stories like, I didn't know what I was going to do with you because I'd never even held a baby. Now I'm stuck with this child, and my wife is dying. And so she kept pulling through. And so on a stretcher, they put her on a B-52 airplane with my dad's dog tags. And this is 1973, 74, where there were, computers like we have now.
Yeah.
She ended up in like Iowa, and my dad and I ended up in Hawaii. And he said he held me and I was crying. And we ended up in Hawaii first and then over to Alaska for some reason. And I only had a onesie. Like, it's this whole crazy story that I really should write out because it's really interesting. And then they got back to the States in different states.
Yeah.
And then finally were reconnected. My mom had a big, massive surgery, saved her life, and she pulled through. But
my
I
gosh.
thought that was so interesting that she could hardly speak any English and she was on her deathbed. So
wow.
tough old lady.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. And how terrifying for your dad, from multiple levels. That's so crazy.
Yeah. And he did 3 tours. My favorite story about him is he's like Clint Eastwood. He smoked 3 packs a day. And every time I talk about him, I'm like, I just instinctively do this because he always had his hand right there with the.
Yeah.
But I said, why did you do 3 tours? Nobody does 3 tours in Vietnam. They do in Iraq, and now.
Yeah.
I said, but not back in the day. And he always spoke slowly, and he looked at me and he goes, because the first time they sent me over there, I had to go. And then he took a long drag, and he goes, and the second time, I met your mother and fell in love. And then he took a long drag of a cigarette, and he goes, and the third time, I had to get your little white ass out of there. Thanks.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's wild. And then does your mom still lives close to you?
Actually passed away 2 years ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize
No, no,
that.
no. I
I
talk about
forgot that.
her. I think that's my way of dealing and
Yep.
coping is that I talk
Yeah.
about her as if she's alive on
Yeah.
stage.
Yeah.
And my dad has passed away in 2017. So in
Yeah.
my routine, he's passed because he's part
Yeah.
of my story of having
Right.
passed.
Right.
But yeah, I'm that stick my head in the sand person. My spirit animal is an ostrich. So I just pretend that she's alive and well in my head.
Yeah, but I think there is something about that, like still, because my mom just passed away, and
I'm sorry.
yeah, and I was debating. I have this stuff, I have this material, and I was like, and I've sort of modified it a little bit to, kind of talk about it, but because it is still like part of us, it's still like such a funny story. It's funny, and actually, some of my stuff is about her at the end, like kind of with the Alzheimer's and dementia that she had. So, I think it's like it's just stuff that people can relate to. And yours is just so interesting with your mom, just that the way she would talk to you and just interact with your son, and just it's just so it is a way to keep them alive, I think, and keep them close. And yeah, I think it's special. So
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I debate on that because after I finish a show, every time somebody will come up to me and say, "Oh my God, your mom sounds so cute. Will you bring her to the next show?" Or "We want to meet your mom." And I'm like,
yeah. She's
"Oh,
kind of here. She's kind of here.
like, it'd be really hard, but I'll try." Like, but I just like keeping her alive, and she never really understood stand-up comedy. They don't have stand-up comedy really in Thailand like we
Oh,
do.
really? Yeah.
So she never
Really?
really understood it. So she didn't really not like it. She just didn't understand it.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I didn't even think about that. Is that mostly Thailand, or is it just all? I mean, there was a comedy club in Japan I performed at, but yeah, like
Yeah, I'm
now
sure
that
they have stand-up comedy in Thailand, but she's lived in a really remote village,
oh
so she
yeah,
was never exposed to comedy
right,
until she came to the States, and she doesn't like stand-up comedy. Not she doesn't understand what it is, but she doesn't like it. I remember her watching like Johnny Carson, where she didn't understand the
oh
comedy.
yeah, yeah,
My dad
yeah,
liked it, but my mom did. She did like slapstick Asian comedy, pie in the face and really
yeah,
dumb, silly stuff like that.
yeah,
That she would laugh at. But
yeah,
actual just standing there talking with a microphone, that was not
yeah.
interesting to her at all.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think so much of stand up is sort of can be a kind of play on words, or kind of this reversal, and it can be really nuanced the way you kind of zig and zag with something that people think you're going to say, and then you say something else, and that's what makes it funny.
Yeah.
But like if your English is your second language, I imagine that would be kind of challenging sometimes. You're like, why is that funny?
Yeah, for sure. So my favorite story about my mom is that I wanted her to understand what I do to see if I could get her validation. Of course, we're always looking for that. So I took her to Oklahoma with me to a casino, and Leanne Morgan asked me to open and feature for her. So I was going to do, be the first comedian to come out for 2030. 600 people in the room, big, massive auditorium at a big, giant casino. And I thought, my mom and I are going to bond. She's going to accept me. This is going to be great. So we drive there. She's so excited about the casino. And then I said, well, I need you to come into this big giant room because I'm going to do my act. And then Leanne Morgan's going to come out and you're going to love her because she's adorable. And this is a long time ago, like, I don't know, 17 years ago. And so I seated my mom in the very first chair, the big round tables. I seated her in the front table right in front of the stage. And I come and welcome to the stage, Donna Lee. And everybody's clapping. It's a big full room of 600 people. And I start to talk. And then 2 minutes in, my mom stands up and walks out of this giant auditorium. And I was so stunned that I was like, I don't even know what to say. Like I didn't have crowd work ability at this point, and I didn't know where she was going. And I just could see my little Asian mom and her black hair just walking away. And so then I did my set. It kind of got in my head. And I to this day, I feel like Leanne Morgan was like, that wasn't as strong as I've seen Donna Lee before. After the show, I thank Leanne Morgan. Of course, she did a great job. I leave and go find my mom in the casino, and she's at a slot machine. And I said, I've been looking for her everywhere. I said, what are you doing? Where? And I was mad and hurt, and I was crying. It was devastating. And I said, what are you doing? Where did you go, Mom? And she said, Mama, I not understand what you say. I get bored, so I leave.
Oh my God.
True story.
That is hilarious.
Isn't that hilarious? Oh my
I
God.
get bored, so I leave. Oh my God.
She just like exactly what you said. She didn't understand the nuances of the stories. And even though I've told those same stories 1,000 times at every dinner party that we ever had, and she would laugh, you know, it was just different because if she was involved, she was very much the attention person. If she was involved in the story, she could laugh and, you know, elaborate or say she said this or that. But the attention was on me, and we had a very sisterly kind of relationship. And it was just really, really hurtful. Now it's a funny story, but at the time I thought, I will never forgive you for the rest of my life.
Seriously, like a big show like that, especially like, you know, and not even like, it doesn't matter if you don't understand it, just like, aren't you enjoying the people laughing and enjoying your, you know, that's so funny. Like you said, you wanted to be proud of you. Like, it's like, yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah. Did you feel like she was, you were kind of looking for approval from her? Was it a hard thing?
Yeah, that was, I'm an only child, and I never really got my parents' approval. So my mom never really approved of anything I did except when I married a rich man.
Well,
that she approved of. My dad too. But my dad, who did like stand-up comedy, he didn't really care for me doing it. But he wasn't, because I didn't really cuss and I told family stories, he wasn't embarrassed about it, but he never like went out of his way to, you know, he never told anybody, oh, my daughter does stand-up comedy. So
yeah. It is a weird profession like that. It's kind of like, you know, it's not like an actor, you know, that sounds glamorous, but like a stand-up comedian, they're like, where, you know, it's not as, it doesn't hold the same cachet, you know, I think is interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that is frustrating. So, oh my God, but that is a funny story. Now, later. Yeah. And so you've got the one son. How old is he now? And then you have two stepsons.
I have Sterling just turned 23, and then 24 and 25.
Yeah. Okay, great. So they're all kind of launched.
They're launched. Husband can make his own dinners now. We're good. He knows how to feed the wiener dogs. Everybody's trained, including him. So
yeah. And you were telling me you've got how many dogs, how many cats? Like, what's the rundown again on your current?
I don't know, girl. I think because I didn't have more than one biological child, I wanted more children. But then I was going through the divorce. I think I'm hoarding animals and plants. So I have 4 mini wiener dogs, and they're all just the cutest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I have 4 indoor cats, and then I have 3 outdoor cats. So 11 animals and a husband to feed every day. And then I have over 100 potted plants all around my house. And then we just put in a whole bunch of landscaping. I haven't even included all of that mess. And then it's a lot. And I love it. Every morning I get up super early, like 4:30, and I have all these little mouths around me just waiting to eat. And we go out, and it's the happy place. I love it so much.
Well, that's awesome. Clearly you like to take care of the things, you know, so that's great. My plant situation is survival of the fittest over here. It's like, good luck, guys. Oh my gosh. You guys brought me another orchid to kill. Thank you. Oh man. So yeah, I want to hear, one of the things I like to ask on these is an unhinged story. Unhinged could be a story about we've heard some about your mom, but it could be just parenting. It's just, I feel like we all need to relate to something and how challenging it can get, right?
I have a great story that just happened. So my son, who is just sent from the heavens, he's never been in trouble. He's never gotten in a timeout. I never had to take his phone away. He never drank alcohol, and I busted him. Like none of that. He was just absolutely perfect his entire life, and he still is. Yeah. But he's graduating from A&M recently, and I said, you know, looks like a lot of your friends are getting married and are getting engaged, or you and your girlfriend, you've been together for a couple of years. And then he goes, Myler, I am not in a position to get engaged or married anytime soon. I can't believe you're bringing that up. I am too young. I'm going to get in my 30s and have a lot of money in the bank, and then I'll get married and I'll be engaged. And he was kind of coming at me a little hard. I was like, calm down. I'm just asking because you've been with your girlfriend and your friends are getting married. So fast forward a few weeks later, my husband and I are having lunch with him and his girlfriend. And his girlfriend's name is Gwyneth, and she's adorable. And she said, Sterling, did you tell your mom? And I said, tell your mom what? And he goes, of course I told my mother. And I said, tell your mother what? And he said, Mother, I told you. I said, what are we talking about? And Gwyneth said, we got a house together. And I went, wait a minute. I said, wait. And I couldn't wrap my head around it, but I didn't want to say in front of her, you didn't tell me this. And so I just kind of break down and I was like, oh, yeah, this is great. And on the inside, I was melting away quickly. Yeah. And so I thought, what's happening? She said, do you want to see it? It's right at the road. We were in Georgetown, which is north of Austin, and they got a little house together in Georgetown.
Yeah.
So we go to their house, and it's adorable. But then the other side of me kicks in. At first, I'm like shocked. And then I'm mad they didn't let me know because I would have gotten them a housewarming gift.
Right.
I would have had some sort of input. I mean, something. Yeah. So then I'm a little bit mad at Sterling for the first time in many, many years because I was like, what? And he just kept saying, oh, I told you, Mother. I can't believe you don't remember. I said, you never told me this. I would have remembered.
Yeah, it's a big thing. It's not like just like, it's not like, oh, I'm going out Friday night. No, it's.
Yeah. And you just told me you're not getting engaged anytime soon. This is sort of the same thing.
Yeah.
So you're finding a lease with a human being, just like you would have given her a ring. So I calmed down and I shut up. And then I came home. And then Sterling called me a few hours later from his truck. And he had me on speakerphone. I said, are you alone? And he said, yes. I go, what the hell, Sterling? And he said, what, Mother? I told you. I said, you didn't tell me shit. I said, you didn't tell me anything.
Yeah.
And he goes, Mother, I told you I was looking for a place in Georgetown. I said, you did not, you said that maybe, but you didn't say with a girl, with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
But the best part of this whole story is just so true to form. His words to me were, he goes, I was just calling you to see how you were processing. I said, processing? You don't have the G on the end of any word anymore. I'm not processing. It was a lot, and I had to kind of just let it go. And they're adorable. And then he keeps inviting me over for dinner, and he wants me to spend the night because they have a cute little guest room. And I'm like, oh, so cute. But it felt a little unhinged for the first time in a long time because I didn't know how to, take the information that I wasn't given that he thought he gave me, and I was just. Oh, I'm gonna kill you.
I know. Yeah, it is. I know. It is funny. And I think it's funny because I think boys, and I mean, I know this is like a total oversimplification, but I do feel like boys, we just don't get the same information that girls give their parents. I mean, obviously oversimplified, depends on the relationship, but I know my sister gets play-by-plays of everything going on in my niece's life. I am lucky if I find out like what school they're thinking about going to, like all these big decisions, it's like,
right.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. But yeah, that definitely made me feel like a nutty mom for a minute, but
yeah. Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this has just been so much fun. Thank you so much for being on the show. Why don't you tell people where they can find you and get connected with you?
Yeah, my handle on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook is at Donna Lee Comedy. So L-E. And then my website is donnaleecomedy.com.
Perfect.
And you can find me everywhere. I'm trying to post like these youngsters are doing. So I stay as updated as I can.
I know. It's wild. It is wild. And that's awesome. Well, we'll have those links in our show notes too, so people can get connected to you and find out about all your latest stuff. And thanks again.
Thank you for having me, Andrea. It's good to see
you. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for listening, and make sure you subscribe, share, and follow us on the socials to get more comedy clips.